Welcome to Expedient Means with Lin Wei on Time Monk Radio. Lin currently resides in China and is the founder and head teacher of Guaizhen Philocultural Society. He has extensive experience in Buddhist and Taoist meditation, Qigong, martial arts, and traditional Chinese medicine. To learn more about Lin, please visit his website at www.guizhenhui.net. Tonight, Lin will be discussing how to begin Buddhism, or beginning Buddhism. So welcome back, Lin.
Awesome. Hello.
So beginning Buddhism, why would people want to begin Buddhism to begin with?
I have no clue. I mean, I don't know. End of discussion. See you later. Thank you. Good night. Well, why would they want to be in Buddhism? Really, there is no answer to a why. There's just we can have a notion about maybe why would they be interested. And it could be that they have had conditions from previous lifetimes, or even in this lifetime, they may have heard of the word Buddha, heard of the name Buddha, seen a statue, heard of a principle the Buddha had spoken, maybe from the Dhammapada. They heard the Dalai Lama's the name. They heard of certain aspects of Buddhism somehow, somewhere along the line. At one point, maybe they heard it once in their life. And again, at some point later on, that time, the nourishment, or maybe that seed had sprouted somehow of kind deeds or nice lifestyle or good lifestyle, even just from past lives, whatever. But speaking of now, perhaps it just was that it caught their interest. Something caught their interest. The seed of that thing, of that word, or whatever was the influence of Buddhism in their mind, had sprouted or whatnot, and they had a curiosity about it, So then they would say, "Hey, I want to know about this."
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So, as a Westerner, how would someone go about, there's Buddhism, such a huge concept. Where would you start?
Well, wow, there's so many outlets out there that you could say, "Well, I'm going to go to a Buddhist temple," and then you'll be overwhelmed with all these things about, Buddhist temple, everything that happens in a Buddhist temple. So I could suggest if someone feels going to a Buddhist temple is going to be good to start up and they're ready to handle that, go right ahead. Basically, it's all based on whatever someone has the capacity to accept and understand. But in general, if, let's say, there's no Buddhist temple, or they are still unsure if they want to get to a Buddhist temple, if they actually want to go to one, they can start up. Of course, we have internet. They can go and check it out. They'll probably come across Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path. They'll come across all these different types of things that they feel, oh my God, I have to follow this. I have to do this. Oh man, that's too much. I can't take that. So instead of jumping into that, pool, I would say, if anyone's interested in starting up Buddhism, first just, have the idea that what is it that we do in Buddhism? We have to understand that. What is it in the Buddhist school that we do? And what we're doing is we're turning the light, or we're turning the mirror on our face. You could say physical face. You can start from the physical, the more prominent thing in front of you, turning the light on us instead of on other people. So you're basically looking at you, at what you consider to be you. And then in Buddhism, excuse me, we'll say as a reference of, or standard of mannerism or behavior, or thinking and action and whatnot, of body, mouth and mind. What do we do with that? You say we're trying to change ourselves to be a more nicer person, a more, well, what they say, we throw this word around in Buddhism all the time, is compassionate. Just basically trying to be a kind person. So beginning Buddhism, you could say, or even beginning any type of anything, any path, consider being kind as the first and most important step, or most important rule.
I was actually just going to ask you what you thought about the possibility that some people were already practicing Buddhism without realizing that they were practicing Buddhism.
Yeah, and it's simply because Buddhism isn't, well, we have it as a religion, but it's really just principles on how to investigate the mind, on how to be a better person. and how to open up our wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of thinking along the lines of investigating the mind. Like, there are a lot of people that are questioning, why they're here, or, turning some questions over in their mind, and those things, are Buddhist in nature.
Right, and they can become very trivial, these questions. How did we get here? What was the first thing? What was before this or that thing? And it can become very trivial. What is karma? Oh my God, karma! And their mind explodes with having to try to accept and swallow karma. The ideas of karma, and it's tough for a beginner. It's tough for someone who is a total novice of this type of cultivation education. So it's best to just work from where you are, or work from where the person is. The person must work from where they are.
I
Change
mean,
one's attitude.
yeah, I was just gonna say, I would think that somebody who's starting out would be better off keeping it simple. Like, don't try and get into these concepts of how karma in the universe works and how it plays out. Just sort of investigate your own mind. Like, who am I? Why am I here? Those type of questions, I think, are more accessible to most people.
Yeah, those are more accessible methods of practice. And if in the beginning a person gets that and says, okay, in Buddhism we'll have to ask, who am I? They can probably go off on many different roads and miss one road, which is a direct road. Eventually they'll get to it, but it still can be overwhelming just asking, who am I? Oh my God. So in the beginning, it's good to change your attitude, change your character, change the way you behave or act or react to people. And then you'll start to go deeper and say, oh, I have this kind of, mental obstacle, this type of emotional obstacle, this type of emotional hang up towards certain situations, that come about. I have to
So
change that, you
I
know?
guess, I guess we should all be helping more old ladies cross the road, right?
It's so funny. Okay, end the commentary, end the discussion. But then you get the person who has that beginning interest. Okay, I'm working on changing my attitude and becoming a more nicer, calmer person. And you know what? I'm really getting some leeway here. I'm really getting around to this. This is good. How do I go further? And now it's going into specific tools. We just got in through kindergarten and we're playing around with, cutting out paper animals, playing around with different colored construction paper, trying to make something pretty, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, now I'm ready to make a nice picture. I'm really ready to start going. How do I do this? Where are the tools? How do I get them? Now we start going a little deeper. Some who are just touching the surface or even close to touching the surface are just reading books about people who have ideas about Buddhism. They're not actually reading sutras. They're just reading people who would say, oh, the Buddha said this, the Buddha said that, or in this sutra he said this, or whatever. But then you're not actually going into the full out curriculum, the full out study of the mind and the full out study of this type of education. So we would have to say the next step would be find someone or a teacher or someone who speaks about the right deportment in cultivation. So now you got to go deeper in cultivation. First, we're working on superficial, my attitude, my personality. You get these things right. Someone's going to say, oh, wait, I got to drop these 4 views of the ego, personality, others, and the lifespan. What the hell does that mean? And they'll get overwhelmed. So just throw all these big concepts out. You don't need them right now. First, work on personality, work on yourself. Be a better person, be calm, try to become more tolerant, patient, be a little bit more compassionate, and that's perfect. And nourishing the ground, nourishing the field. Then we take like I said, the next step would be that we're going into changing further the causes, excuse me, changing further the causes of what made us be a specific way and the views that we had. So now we're going into changing our views, going into where did they come from? Okay. And you don't necessarily need a book to do that or a sutra to help you do that. But if you had someone to nudge you in that direction, that would be nice. So you need those good and wise advisors. And then let's say the person says, I want to go a little further now. Okay. I would suggest picking up a sutra, but with commentary. Commentary is very important. A lot of people don't like commentaries because they think it's just one person's point of view. But in order to actually make a commentary, that person had to have some type of wisdom, had to have some type of understanding of what the Buddha is talking about. And it's possible to have those people. mean, it's very possible. Why wouldn't that be possible? You
Yeah,
know?
and I mean, if your mind isn't at a certain state, it's possible you could misinterpret some of the writings and sort of take them the wrong way.
Yes, and it is taken the wrong way, and we have millions of books that take it the wrong way. Um, and it's really, really important that a person gets a teacher at this aspect. It's not just all about I want to cultivate my mind, cultivate chi, I want to cultivate this and cultivate that. No, 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 no. You know, really, you're looking at altering a whole entire existence, quote unquote, existence, just for the sake of saying this word. I'm going to say it a third time, existence. We're looking at totally altering this whole entire lifetime that we have. You need someone who has the right tools. You really would want to have someone who has some type of idea of how to do that and has been doing it, excuse me, or is cultivating to be able to do that. And that can show you a little bit along the way. And I would
It,
suggest strongly you go to, a monk to do that. That's why they are there. That's why the Sangha, the community of cultivators in the Buddhist school, is there. It's for someone to go to and say, how do I do this?
yeah, and an impartial view certainly wouldn't hurt either. I mean, because we tend to see ourselves filtered through the lens of the ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just
Yes.
having someone else kind of might be able to see something in you that you're blind to or you don't recognize in yourself.
Right. And having it be as in a position of a teacher would allow you to say, okay, I'm willing to take what you think you see and try to figure out if it makes sense to me. If you tell me I'm a jerk off today, I'm going to try to figure out, is that true? you know? And
You're
if
a
it's
jerk
not
off
true,
today, Lynn.
I am. I really am. It's very true. And you really want to just turn that mirror back on. That's the joy of the benefits of having a teacher who's really looking out for you. And they can tell you this, and they're not going to say it because they just want to be able to tell somebody that they're an idiot today. They really are telling a person this because they notice that on the relative level, this is how people would see them. And it's not going to be bringing them any goodness. So it's best to alert them. Hey, you're doing this the wrong way. Got to get back to work. And here's how you do it. That's
I
what a
think,
teacher does.
well, again, I think we discussed this in one of our previous talks, but the hard thing is, again, how does someone know they've got a good teacher, or how does someone know they've got a proper teacher?
Yes. A big tough question. And really, if a novice comes around looking for a teacher, and they may just go to anyone who's wearing a robe and beads around their neck, who's saying, the Buddhist name left and right, and oh, this teacher's good because he's a monk. It may not be so, and it's hard. So you really have to just, trial and error at some point. It really just becomes trial and error. You'll basically know that if the principle being spoken, it doesn't kind of make a lot of sense to you. It seems like something is wrong with what's being said, or what is being said leads you to have more problems than you expected, or leads you to do things that are not within the principles of what actually is going on in the Buddha Dharma, then there is a problem. And that means you would have to do your own investigation too. You have to do your own research. So if the guy's telling you have all the alcohol and sex you want, there's a problem here. There's a problem here. Yeah, pick up any sutra and it doesn't say anything about go out and be promiscuous at all. So
Yeah,
if you have a good teacher that says it's okay, let's go out and have a meat party, let's go to a meat bar, or go to I forget what they call it, Brazilian barbecue, and have a hell of a lot of meat. Let's go and have some meat, and all this stuff. And then we'll go to a bar afterwards and go drink our ass off, and then, we'll pick up some prostitutes. I'm just being really straight up and crazy about it, but
where do I sign up?
yeah, right. Meat, beer, and women.
The true path to wisdom.
Oh no. But basically, I'm being extreme about it. But if it falls in the realm of something like that, there's a problem with the teacher. But generally, here, you know what? I'm going to lay out a little a little general idea of how one can get started. If someone hears this recording and hears our show and is like, ooh, beginning Buddhism, I want to see how I can begin Buddhism. I already have some ideas about it. How do I go a little further? Okay, so you investigate a little, you did a little research. Buddhism, generally speaking, on a regular level, is about being compassionate, being nice, being, truthful, kind. Okay, I think not that I got it 100%, but I'm getting along there. That's what you say to yourself. I want to go further. You go into some sutra. What kind of practice do you like? You don't know because you don't know what kind of stuff is out there. So I would say one can start up, okay, with something with good commentary. All of it has good commentary. What I usually would start up my students with, as I started up, was the Shurangama Sutra, which is really heavy, hardcore. All of it is hardcore. This is just really like blows your mind out. And it's good to have commentary. So some people cannot handle it, which is okay. Go to the Diamond Platform Sutra, which is the Six Patriarchs Diamond Platform Sutra. That's good sutra to start with commentary on. You have the Shurangama Sutra with commentary. You have the Diamond Sutra with commentary. The Amitabha Sutra with commentary. Please get commentaries for whatever sutras you're having and research who did the commentary before you read it. Anyone could give a commentary, and it may not be, certain that everyone giving the commentary is actually giving you a commentary that would help you. So research if it's a venerable this or, another venerable here or a venerable there. Research who is this venerable person. What is their history? How long have they been cultivating? Where did they have temples? How many, who were their disciples? What have they done for society? Research. And if you start, you're feeling a connection with the teacher, like you're feeling, oh, this sounds like someone I could really get a hold on and feel, then investigate some of their writings. Have they written books? Have they written articles? Read a little. Do you feel set with this teacher? If you do, then start picking up their commentary on the sutras, or even contact them.
I would say you're right. A lot of it's a feeling, you'll know inside. Don't try to over intellectualize it, but you can tell when something feels wrong or something feels right. Just
exactly
trust your instincts, I guess.
You may hear from people say, oh, this teacher is great, pick up his commentary then, and you go, oh, great, my friend said this person is great, or this person said this venerable master is great. Let me go find out. And you pick up his commentary and you're reading it and you like some things, you dislike some things, but you're saying, well, they said it's great, so I'm going to follow. Just because other people really follow a certain person doesn't mean that person's expression or explanation of the Dharma is going to make sense to you. So it's really good not to go to several different Dharma teachers and listen to the Dharma, which is okay too, but it's really the fact that you're beginning, you want to research who you're going to be learning from. Find out what they write, how they write, see if you fit with what they're saying, if it makes sense to your logic and reason, to you on your level. I would suggest also, because I would suggest those who I know of. There's Master Jing Kong Fa. He's in Australia. Okay, Jingkong, just Master, and then Jingkong, Master Jing Kong. Google him, you will find more information. Master Xuanhua, Xyuanhua. Okay, and you'll find commentary in that. I follow the commentaries of their teachings. I follow those men, those monks, and their teachings. But I also have different venerables from the Theravadan school, the Mahayanan school, this school, that school, because it's all Buddhism. So also, as a beginner, you're going to jump into, wow, there's this school of Buddhism, that school of Buddhism, this way of thinking, that way of thinking. Oh my God, what the hell's going on here? I'm in a whirlpool,
I know when I first got involved with this stuff and got interested in it, as an example, like I thought Chan was bad. I was like, this is crazy. I mean, the goal of meditation is just to stop thoughts, but with Chan, you're investigating your mind, you're questioning it, you're not stopping thoughts. So I thought that was sort of not a false path, but not as deep a path as it should be. But as I evolved, I guess began to understand what Chan was a little more
Hmm.
deeply.
As you went along and kept a little bit more of an open mind, yeah. Those are saying we have to stop thinking in meditation. Have they actually stopped thinking in meditation? Doing it for 20, 30 years, still trying to stop their thinking? Or doing it for 5, 10 years going, I've been meditating, trying to stop my thinking. I don't know if I have or not. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. Can't speak for everybody. But just going flat out, sitting in a lotus position, full lotus position, or half lotus position, or just regular cross-leg position, and trying to stop your thinking, just sitting there breathing and I have thoughts. How do I stop my thinking? I'm trying to calm down. You have all these things. Why am I thinking right now? Damn it, I just thought again. Oh man. you know, and what the Chan does is take a thought and you only apply everything to that one thought so no other thoughts can interrupt you. And then eventually the mind becomes focused on one thing. And all the momentum of thinking starts to slow down and all your energy goes into one path. And then the method can drop and you can apply yourself. And then, oh my God, something happens. So, anywho, like I said before, you research who the teacher is and whatnot, and you find if it makes sense. And then you're going to look around and say, oh my God, all these schools of Buddhism. And I'm going to say, it's all Buddhism. All these schools of Buddhism are Buddhist teachings. The Buddha taught the method, didn't say is such and such. He taught the method and realized some people can only handle one specific way. So I'm going to teach them this method. And they call it a vehicle. It's something that takes you somewhere, quote unquote. Okay? So, or just for the sake of saying. So he teaches them this method. And another group of people, they don't like this method. They don't feel connected to that method. So he teaches them another method. But he's still teaching the same exact thing. So you'll have so many different schools of thought in Buddhism or methods of practice. But truthfully, they're speaking to be directly pointing to the mind. So don't worry about all these different schools. Don't worry about all these terminologies or even the infighting of these monks or the infighting of, people who like one mannerism of Buddhism and people who like another manner of Buddhism. Who cares if these people are fighting about who's better or what's better method? If the Buddha spoke it, and this is in Buddhism, we trust that the Buddha spoke it this way. Not blindly trusting, you got to investigate. You investigate the Dharma, you investigate what he spoke, what the sutras say, and you see if it makes sense, right? And if it doesn't make sense, not just saying, oh, this doesn't make any sense at all. And you investigate commentary. Someone has to explain to you what the hell is going on in there because you just don't know. The sutras are written in a certain language. Anyway, a certain mannerism of the language, English or whatnot. Anyway, don't pay attention and worry about all these different schools. It's Buddhist. You go to a place, if it makes sense to you, you go to a teacher, you go to a school, you go to a temple. If it makes sense to you, you be there a little bit longer and you start listening to the Dharma talk. And then you listen to what the teacher has to explain to you and you follow what that teacher is going to be telling you. But you don't follow like, I'm a follower, No. You say, this is a good education. I'm going to apply it. So Buddhism, we're going to start Buddhism saying that Buddhism is an education. Okay? Buddhism is an education. Don't look at it as a religious. Ask questions too as a beginner. Why do we bow? Why are our hands like this? Why do you wear these robes? Why do you wear this color? Why do I keep this type of deportment? Why do I have to watch my speech in this specific mannerism? Ask questions. You need to know. Don't just follow along with everybody just because that's how they do it, you do it. Why do you want to be that way? Don't. Understand the method, then you'll understand the principle, and then the function will manifest.
One of the things I really like about Buddhism was, the Buddha said, don't take my word for it. Try the methods, and if they don't work for you, drop the methods, which to me was so different than many of the other religions that kind of say, this is the way it is. This is what you got to follow. You don't ask questions, just, blindly trottle along, right? Buddhism kind of is the opposite of that.
Right. But I'm saying if this method doesn't work, I have about 84,000 other methods that could probably work for you.
Yeah.
It's just saying because the mind is myriad with afflictions or myriad with different things, there's going to be a method. If there's no problem, there's no solution, like Lao Tzu said, right? But because there's a problem, the problem is our false thinking, there's going to be a method to put it out. And Buddhism is saying, there's always going to be something for what's in your mind because you have something in your mind. So, okay, we start up this way with Buddhism. Find research. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say one of the other things that I always liked about it was that the Buddhism kind of adapts itself for the society that it's entering. Like the methodology of Buddhism for a North American isn't necessarily going to be the same methods that were used, by Tibetans 800 years ago, right?
Right, right, exactly. When Buddhism enters a country, it mixes in with its culture, that country's culture. It doesn't say you have to follow it this way and that's it. It says, how do you live? Okay, then apply it this way. Okay, how do you do this? Oh, okay, you do your daily tasks this way. Okay, apply Buddhism in this aspect. Apply this principle this way. It fits for the person because the minds are full with different types of things. That's it. So if someone's saying, oh, the Tibetan method is the right method, or the Chinese method is the right method, or the Japanese, or the Korean, or this country, or that country's method is the right method. There's no such thing. The right method is based on who has the capacity to utilize the method itself. Can they utilize it? Then it's the right method. You don't have to have the same traditional ways only because tradition is just based on society. So the traditional ways of one country, that's how Buddhism will be accepted based on that tradition. Buddhism will mix into that tradition. Yeah, whatever people can accept, they'll just accept.
Just different flavors of the soup, I guess, but don't mistake the spice for the soup itself, so to speak.
Someone used to tell me, a friend of mine used to tell me, if Sakyamuni Buddha were to be came around in our lifetime now, like appeared in the world now and to spread his dharma at this point in time, that this was the, what they call the proper dharma age, he would be wearing a pair of Nikes, shorts, and a wife beater.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's the clothing of our world society. So that's it. So in the beginning, you find a teacher or you find some information first. You're trying to build up your base knowledge of what is considered to be Buddhist. You read some articles written by monks first, by venerable masters here, venerable masters there. You do a little research. I mean, you're going to try to change your life. You want to put some good stuff in there. So you got to find out, make sure who is who, what is what, and how am I able to accept it. Then you go seek out a teacher. You go look if there's temples around you. Drive an hour and a half a week, 2 hours a week just to go to a temple. That's fine. That's good. And then, or not, or whatever. But you go to a place that may have someone who can talk the Dharma. And then you go and you ask questions. How do I do this? How do I begin? And they'll let you know, oh, you're just starting. Okay, this is how we do this. This is how we do that. Okay, are you able to do these? Do you and you have to ask yourself, can I commit to feeling this way? Can I commit to applying myself this way? Well, in Buddhism, we have to try certain things. We have to apply it for a while and see if it's something that we can apply. We can continue applying. It's just a method.
What if somebody finds like reading sutras and commentaries? What if they find that pretty boring?
Well, now they already entered the school and they're saying, okay, well, I just enrolled. They haven't actually taken the full out, straight up walking right into the college or walking right into the university or whatever of Buddhist education. They just enrolled in. They didn't actually start their classes. Oh my God, I got to read sutras? What the hell? Understand that these are methods of cultivation. We have to ask ourselves, I don't like reading sutras. Wait a second. I don't like reading sutras. What the hell? There's an I. We're always asking, what is this thing that doesn't like? Or what is this thing that feels bored or feels frustrated or doesn't care? We're looking for this. So you sit there and go, the method is, I want to resist this, so I'm going to persist in it. I'll take the sutra. I'll read it. I'll read the commentary, because it's the method that says, hey, I don't like something. I have an adverse reaction to this. Well, that adverse reaction is affliction. So you
So,
want the affliction to come out. In Buddhism, we want our faults to come out so we can clean them.
interesting.
So when you're studying Buddhism, understand that you are going into a hall of mirrors. Everywhere you turn is you. Everything you think is there. And you want to find out, how do I not let it be there? Well, I just leave the hall of mirrors. Fine, then you go along the way without knowing anything about what's going on with you. Buddhism is, we're going to go find investigating the mind. We're going to go find out what's in this mind of ours. What have we been doing with our views? How did we have these views? How did we go about living our lives? And I have to change it. Why am I angry? Why am I happy? Why do I love this? Why do I, love that? We want to find out.
I was gonna say, I mean, for a novice, some of these things can be overwhelming. Like it can be overwhelming to see all these things that are inside you that you never really recognized before. So how does one deal with that?
Well, that's why you need a teacher, and you have to ask. You have to say, I'm uncomfortable with this situation. I don't understand what to do. And the teacher will go step by step, break down the whole entire function of the method. That's how it would make it easier. If you don't ask questions, just say, I don't like this, I'm leaving, I'm never going to look at Buddhism again, you're really not giving yourself the chance to understand. You're just still stuck. One is just still stuck in this egotistical state in views of separation and discrimination. There's methods for everything. All these things. Okay, let's break this down. Bowing, okay, putting our hands together in front of our heart, reciting the Buddha's name, saying the Buddha's name when we see a monk, or greeting any other cultivator, a slight bow with your hands together when greeting another cultivator or a monk or whatnot, lighting incense, offering flowers, making donations to the temple. If you're not going to a temple and you're just doing it at home as a solitary cultivator, okay, having an altar, doing bowing, and so on and so forth. These things are methods of practice. They're not methods of worship. They can be used as methods of worship, but it doesn't mean that is the sole purpose. It means someone decided that they need the method of worshiping to feel like they're getting somewhere, or to be able to be in cultivation of this education. So they use it as the worshiping method. The overall method, we have to understand, is just a tool for focusing our mind and returning the light, returning our mind back into itself, which is pretty heavy for a beginner to figure out or to think or even to conceive of or even be told. So don't even worry too much about that. Just understand that whatever methods you are shown, they are methods of cultivating. Whatever we feel uncomfortable about, realize that these are your own views. They're like your own views you've accumulated about these ways of practice, even if you didn't know about them before and they're given to you.
I would say a good teacher also is not going to give you more than you can handle. I mean, I would think a good teacher is not going to pull out every single crappy thing about yourself and throw it in your face all at once and overwhelm you, right? They're going to give you enough to deal with that you can handle.
Exactly.
Right?
The teacher should say, okay, so you're just starting in. This is such and such Buddha. This is such and such Buddha Bodhisattva, and explain why they are this way. Explain what's going on. So understand that we have to go further by ourselves too and research who was Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay, and find out what is this person's life all about. Okay. We have to understand. So beginning Buddhism, don't jump into any sutra. Don't just pick up a sutra unless you feel totally compelled that something caught your eye and you have this innate feeling that you just want to get a sutra. Then you go and get one, fine. But by all means, do that. But also, I mean, realize you're beginning. Fix your personality by changing your personality. If you're a high-tempered person, do things in a different way. You have to find a teacher, so you need to find a teacher.
On a real mundane level, even I know there's a movie out a few years ago with, God forbid, Keanu Reeves, but despite the fact that he's in it, it's actually a pretty good introduction to Buddhism and Sakyamuni's life.
Mm. I liked that movie actually, but of course some things in the movies are dramatized,
Yeah.
just to get the point out. We can't remember everyone. We cannot look at a movie about something and say that is exactly what it was and quote that movie as though it is exactly the way it was. You can't do that. It can give you an idea, a small idea, a very little one, about what could possibly have been. But you're not going to learn about Buddhism from a movie about Buddhism. With not no, I personally really um, like Keanu Reeves' demeanor. I mean, not in the movies. I mean, in person. I haven't met him. I would like to meet him because I just like the demeanor he has of him. But anywho, from a movie made in Hollywood about Buddhism, you're not going to get the whole gist of it. If anyone really wants to know what Buddhism is about, go to a Buddhist temple and ask a monk. If you don't can't do that, go online, go research from big Buddhist associations that have history and that have a longer history because of that teacher. And that a history of establishment because the teacher established it, but before the teacher established it, he had an establishment before his other temples or other associations or other connections with other temples. Whatever the case is, these are the resources you should really have when you're wanting to find out what actual Buddhism is about. If you pick up a book, just reading it, oh, Buddhism is this, is okay, but then there's 20 other books that say Buddhism is other things too. So it becomes very confusing. It's just having a soup and you can't tell which flavor is in the soup. So investigate. I throw out some resources. The City of 10,000 Buddhas in California. Go online. You can research drba.org, I believe. You can research for Buddhist sutras and commentaries, btts.org. I think that's the website. If I'm not sure, just Google BTTS. Okay, Buddhist Text Translation Society. There's the Amitabha Society in the Pure Land Society, I believe, in Australia, or just Google Jingkong Fasha or Master, Jingkong, and you'll get that information. I personally trust those outlets. There are other great outlets too. I just don't have them. I don't have those resources. It doesn't mean they're not good. It just means I don't have them. Okay, that's all. But I focus on those two. That's just because that's my time and my conditions. I focus on those two teachers. So you can research through them, or you can go and try to weed out yourself throughout different directions in the world for Buddhist teaching. And you can find out Buddhist sutras translated in English by masters of the English language, meaning they have the degree level of either a master or PhD degree level of both Chinese, English. They even studied Sanskrit, and they actually have this under their belt as researchers of the Sanskrit language, or so, or probably. But they have spent years and years researching the language their tradition is in, okay, and the English language too. So you can trust these commentaries at least on that respect, because sutras in the Buddhist school, sutras are translated in a very delicate manner. It's not just a person decides, I'm going to translate a sutra. A whole entire process goes in. So these are all little safeguards for beginners, okay? That we have this safety net in Buddhism of the sutras being translated, that it has to go through a whole process to make sure that it is as it is in the sutras the Buddha spoke. If it's translated from Chinese to English, it has to be according to how that was written. And it has to research what's the Sanskrit, what's the Chinese, and then how does this correlate to the English, and then the context of the English, and then the cultural aspect of the language, the cultural aspect of the land in which this sutra is going to. It's a lot of work, man. It goes through maybe 50 people, maybe 100, maybe 500 people translating and then editing and then re-editing and making sure there's no mistakes, and then the head teacher would take a look at it and approve. And then there you go. So it's a hard process. So you can rest assured, most of these sutras being translated from at least from the two organizations I stated before, are pretty damn okay.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm assuming they'd be concerned that if they mistranslated something, there's always a possibility that their actions could create negative karma, so they would do
Yeah.
their best not to have that happen.
Yeah. And another safeguard for those beginning, when you hear of heavens, different types of hells in Buddhism, don't get too caught up in that. Don't even bother investigating that. Don't even bother worrying about that. Oh my God, all these hells. Oh my God, all these types of living beings who would try to mess with me, all these demons, all these different gods, all these different bodhisattvas. Oh my God, too much to remember. I can't take this. No, no, no. Don't take it then. Put it in the drawer and leave it there. Maybe 10 years down the line, you'll sit there and go, oh my God, I remember this. Let me go take a look. Now you have the capacity to investigate it. At the beginning, we don't have the capacity to investigate it, perhaps. So don't worry about the hell realms. Don't worry about the different types of realms of the heavenly realms or different types of bodhisattvas and beings. Stick to one thing. Stick to Shakyamuni Buddha or Amitabha Buddha or the medicine Buddha. Okay? Stick to the Buddhas that are very familiar to you, that may be very familiar to you right away. Maybe even Guanyin Bodhisattva, who became a Buddha a long time ago, too.
Yeah, and a lot of these bodhisattvas are very similar to some of the other religions. I mean, Guanyin. I don't want to say it's the same entity or whatever, but it's sort of the same energy as, say, the Virgin Mary. It's that type of feminine, motherly.
Compassionate energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when before the body of or the manifestation of the Guanyin itself appeared in the world in China, before that, it was a he and appeared in India also. Maybe it also appeared in different areas of the world too, in different types of shapes. And it appeared in India as the name Avalokiteshvara, one who hears the cries of the world. Okay, so appeared as a man before, and then China appears as a woman. The bodhisattvas, I don't want to get too deep into these things right now as for beginners to hear this, but bodhisattvas appear according to the mind of living beings. That's all. Just keep that in your mind for everyone, you know? But don't get too caught up in this Buddha and that Buddha and whatnot. Stick to one thing, Shakyamuni Buddha. If you come across Amitabha Buddha, stick to Amitabha Buddha. If you come across Medicine Buddha, work with Medicine Buddha. Or Guanyin, if you feel, oh, wow, that's compassion, that's really pretty, I like that, then go for Guanyin Bodhisattva. Okay?
I guess you would say people, a word you've used quite frequently would be affinities, right? Certain people have certain
Mm-hmm.
affinities with different,
Right,
energies or whatever,
right.
something that appeals to you for whatever reason. Maybe you don't even know why.
Exactly. When you have affinities, when you have the feeling of a certain connection with something, you just go with it. And so that's what you do, you know? But don't go running with like a chicken without a head, running this direction, the other direction. Stick with one thing, you know? Um, so you investigate these things. You try to find the right outlets. You know, you go to temples, you go to schools of Buddhism, you ask monks, you ask seasoned cultivators or cultivators who've been around for a while in Buddhism. You ask these questions and keep an open mind. Don't just right away, throw something off the side because it seems too far out. Just sit there and go, oh my God, okay, that's in there too. Wow, that's too much for me. You have anything simpler? If you can't handle it, there's always another way. There's always another method. You know. So in beginning Buddhism, we just rewind the audio to the beginning and hear the beginning parts we just said.
So maybe Lynn, you could offer, say, a safe method that a beginner might want to try to just sort of an intro to meditation or an intro to cultivation. Would you be able to
Okay,
do that?
sure, sure. Basically, start by asking yourself, how were you today? How were you? How did you do today? Were you aggressive to people? Were you impatient with people? Were you not compassionate to people? Along those lines. And then ask yourself the questions to yourself, meaning directing it to you. Was I impatient with myself today? Was I frustrated with myself today? Was I angry with myself today? Okay? It doesn't mean you always have to be all happy and loving and whatever. I don't mean that at all. I just mean ask, are you treating yourself in a way which gives off a negative vibration, which creates sickness in the body and the mind? So we want to change that. That's the first step. Now you they go, well, as a Buddhist, one should always be cultivating meditation. Sure, sure, you can be meditating too if that's the method you need to use. So let's just use meditation because it's very common. If you can sit with your legs crossed over each other, what is considered full lotus posture, by all means, please do that. If not, half. That means one leg on top of the other, one leg on the bottom, one leg on top. If you can't do that, then just sit with your legs crossed, but do some stretching and try to get into a half lotus. Then eventually, really, the best thing, get into full lotus. You can sit in that position, right hand over the left palm, and you can have the thumbs touching each other slightly. Don't push so hard, just lightly touching. So you have like it looks like there's a space between your index fingers and your thumb, okay? Tongue to the roof of your mouth. And a very, very simple application of your mind or your concentration. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Breathe normally. Means whatever way you're fine breathing, just breathe normally. Apply your concentration to your breathing in, your breathing out, and just work with that simple method. Don't take on any investigative methods of who was I before I was born, what was my face before I was born, who's actually meditating. Don't bother with that just yet. That's too far ahead. Just sit there and learn to control your breath, meaning learn to apply your mind to your breath, your concentration to your breath. And that's just it. That's just that aspect. We want to change our faults. We want to look in the mirror and tell ourselves, I've done such and such mistakes. I've said such and such bad things to such and such people. Okay, we want to reveal all of our mistakes to ourselves. Say, well, I did them, I know them. No. Tell yourself you did them. And then try never to do them again. That's called repentance. People think, oh, repenting, oh my God, there we go with the repenting. Chinese, we call it chanhui. It's literally ripping out all the things you've done negative that you can remember and spitting them out again and observing them, looking at them. Do you have the conditions to do those again? Do you have the capacity to do those things again? If you do, be honest with yourself and then try to change yourself so you don't have to do those things again. Our goal is to not have to do these old mistakes. We don't want to keep doing the old things. So that's the next step. Repent, which basically means admitting your mistakes to yourself.
You realize the first thing people are going to do now is go start asking those Chan questions you told them not to ask right away.
I planted the seed. What do you want? I purposely did.
Very skillful.
Yeah. Nah, man, you pulled the blanket off my trick there. So that's that one. You want to be honest with yourself so you can be honest with other people. And you don't want to do the same things that you've done before that brought problems for yourself and other people. Also, admitting to yourself that if you have done this before, is using other people for your own benefit. Okay, have you climbed on conditions? Have you, tried to fight for the better position and pushed other people aside? Were you greedy? Are you always angry? Do you do things that would be considered ignorant things to do? Change them and be honest. Because in Buddhism, we want to drop our ego. We want to rip it right out, throw it away.
That's it.
Yeah, I said it's going to be short. What is it? Only, I don't know how long this is. 40 minutes?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty short. And it's really simple. I don't want to repeat it again. Just everyone, just go back to the beginning. I basically said everything the first 25 minutes, first 20 minutes to begin. And later on, we just emphasize a further, refining those beginning steps.
Next week, we'll do the super advanced methods on how to become an immortal, right?
Yeah, lots of coffee. Excellent. Okay, guys.
All right. Well, thanks again, Lynn. Again, I enjoyed it, and I hope at least some of the listeners will get something out of it.
Also, for those who hear this and are a little interested, I would be really, more than happy to offer some more ideas on how to get started. you can send me an email, guizhenhui at yeah.net, and just send the subject line, beginning Buddhism. Whatever questions you may have about how to begin, or where to look, or needing references, or if you have any questions about this at all, feel free to ask. If I can't answer, I will direct you to someone who can. And yeah, it would be really great if if you needed some help and you didn't know where to go. At least you have an outlet. And if I don't have the method, I can send you to a place who would have the method
Oh boy,
to
you
help.
just open the floodgates there.
I'm kicking myself. And believe me, what I mean is, don't believe me. Don't just take my word for it. Don't believe anything I say with 100% faith. I could be making a mistake and I don't know. Just take what I say, not with a grain of salt either. Well, it is just take what I say with an open mind. If it makes sense, please utilize it. If it doesn't make sense, question me. Say, I don't think this makes sense. How does this make sense? And if I can't make sense of it, then I will send you to someone who will be able to make you feel more connected to the path you want to go on to. Because I may not be for everybody. People may not feel connected with me. I mean, there's people who don't like me. People don't have to like everybody. People don't have to like you. People don't have to like me, and so on and so forth. But that just means they don't have the conditions. We don't have the conditions to have, mutual understandings or whatnot. And same thing with Buddhism. You don't have the conditions. You may not like the teacher, but the teacher is a great teacher. But just because you don't like the person doesn't mean the person is terrible, or the person is retarded or ridiculous, or whatever the case is. Just means you don't feel connected to them. That's all it means. Stop false thinking. Go on with your life. Find someone who connects with you. That's another thing. So there you go.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll I guess call it a wrap for today.
Wrap it up, baby.
Wrap her up. So, for the listeners, please join us again next week, and Lynn will be discussing a common misconception among martial artists.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fun.
And to quote the final chapter of the Tao Te Ching, the sage does not accumulate. The more he assists others, the more he possesses. The more he gives to others, the more he gains. Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.